Welcome to the PCS Edventures Educator Spotlight Series. In today's sponsored feature story, we're exploring how adaptable the Oceanic Exploration curriculum is for a library setting. As Jes McPherson tells us, the open and go standalone lessons are a perfect way to keep kids engaged.
My name is Jessica McPherson. I go by Jess. I am an associate librarian at Lake Hazel Library, one of the 4 Ada community libraries in the Ada County, Idaho. And I also am the STEAM coordinator at my branch, and I do other programs such as like coding, 3D printing, and I do tech support. So I have a few hats.
Super fun. Yeah, I would love to learn more about the 3D printing. Okay, so we're diving into the Oceanic Exploration program. So what problems were you having with figuring out hands-on activities to do with some of these after-school programs with the kids before you got this particular program? So what was your biggest challenge? And then what did this program help with that?
Well, a few of the programs that I've seen from PCS is they're kind of meant for either classroom environments or camps, whereas you might have the same kids. We don't have that as an after school program or even a summer program. We have a few regulars that come to almost all our programs, but we have kids who are coming for the first time. We have kids that come very sporadically. So we can't guarantee we're going to have the same kids come every session. So we have to kind of assume the kids that are coming, we have never been to this program before. So doing something that kind of piggyback off each other is a little bit more difficult. But I feel like this Oceans Exploration has a lot of activities that are hands-on and fun that they don't have to have prior knowledge of the day before. So that was really good.
Just take me back to your first moment when you unboxed everything, and what was your reaction when you saw everything that was in there?
Oh, I was excited. I really like the way that the curriculum is set up. It's really easy to follow. It gives all the background information, all the standards. If if I were an elementary school teacher here, this, and that's great. It meets these standards. So and it also kind of gives what the prep, how to prep for this stuff, the review, discussion questions, which I definitely did use. But I saw all the printed stuff, which I don't think I've used any of the printed stuff because I I'm saving it, but I have all the digital stuff, so I just printed everything. So, but all the pictures and things they had in there were just really beautiful and very vivid, and yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so how did you go about getting that first lesson up and running, and how much prep did it take to do these? And to talk about, I know you just chose a couple of lessons to do for one of these summer camps. Talk to me about those first lessons.
Yeah, since we have an hour to do our program, I thought we could do 2 in 1 hour, because they look a lot of these look like they can be done in 30 minutes. So I was oh, let's do 2, because I often don't like to have be done at, because we do our program from 4:30 to 5:30, and I mean, if we're done at 5:15, that's ideal, but I don't like to be done at 5. I'm because that's oh, that's not, I mean, I want to give them something more to do, and it just doesn't seem like enough time. Oh, what else are we doing if that happens? So I did 2 in 1, but these two do piggyback off each other. And it happened to be Shark Week when we did it, so it kind of worked out. So the ones I chose were the Arctic and the food web. I didn't really focus on the Arctic. I mainly focused on the food web. And then the second one was the day after, day 7, which was coral reefs and adaptations. And I felt like those 2 worked really great off each other, because they mainly focus on predator and prey. So that's why where the shark theme kind of came into it, because they're apex predators. So Yeah, so I did two activities. The first one I did was from Arctic and the Food Web. It's called Who's on the Menu, and I can go into that in a minute. I don't know if that was part of the question, but I can go into it, how that went. And the second one was from Coral Reefs and Adaptations, and that one was called Messages in Color. That one was really cool. Kids really like that one.
And that's what I was going to ask. What did the kids like? And talk to me about kind of the vibe in the room when all the kids are there and they're seeing, titles like that, like Who's on the Menu, which I think would get kind of a reaction from the
Yeah,
kids. So
yeah,
talk to me about how they reacted when they came in to see the activities that were planned for that day.
yeah. So how that one works, because I did talk about some of the background information about what the difference of, things like herbivores and carnivores and like talk about plankton and all and zooplankton, like, and just kind of where they all fall in the food web. And then there's this game, and I'll just show you the image in the picture, where all these images are on a card. So I had all the kids basically tape the card to their chest, like, so they, like, right here, so they couldn't see what they were, kind of like, like those games like Who Am I, like it was like a celebrity. It's kind of the same thing. So then we had to figure out where, and some of these things, like, they don't know exactly what they are, like, because like they have like the very, very bottom feeders down here. They had to figure out, like, we had to line up and be like, okay, we have to figure out who's on the bottom and who's on the top. And, and then it was kind of interesting for them to, like, kind of like look at, like, oh, you're a whale, so you're probably over here. Oh, you're a shrimp, so you're probably over here. So, and I think we were right. And I mean, one of them got the human, which was like the very top, and they were like, oh, but sharks can eat humans. So I'm like, yeah, but humans are the most deadly predator of all, if you think about it. So they like that. And then we had the group discussion, which at the back, and I was just like, they were, we talked about, like, what you like about this game, what was frustrating about it, what you notice between predators and prey. A lot of them said the same thing about predators and prey, like, oh, the predators are way bigger. I'm like, well, yeah.
So what were some of the things that they were most excited about? Like, what were some of the things that they learned? Did they make comments or anything on some? I'm looking at some of the pictures that you submitted, and they're coloring some of the fish, and like, what were some of the things that they were just
That one is a different
saying?
one of the pictures. So that was the other program we did. That was the next activity. And that was more about coral reefs and adaptations. So what I did first, before we got into that, is there's a picture I showed you of the whiteboard where I had, like, pictures of all, like, these different fish that can like camouflage themselves and either, like, hide from predators or predators and can sneak up on their prey. So that was kind of the game. So the game for the when they were coloring their fish is I gave everybody the fish card, and I tell them, okay, so we're gonna color our fish. You guys color them any way you want, and then we're gonna play a game where we're gonna hide our fish. They really like this one. So I had all the fish. We had like 12 kids, and I separated them, and I said, okay, you half are the predators, and you half are the prey. And then after this, we're going to switch, so everyone gets a turn to be both things. So the predators went into a corner, and first they gave the prey their fish they made, and I gave them all a piece of tape, and I said, okay, so prey, you guys are going to go around the room, and we have a pretty big program room. Go and hide them in plain sight, and don't hide them where no one can find. Like, just put them on a wall, put them on a table, just somewhere easy that's not hard to find, because we have a few littles in there, and I'm like, don't make them really hard, because if you put them too high, they can't see them. So I gave them like 20 seconds to do that. Once they were all hidden, I told the predators, okay, go to as many fish as you can. Go. But what they didn't know is, according to the instructions, I go around and I put 2 X's on the back of 2 of the fish, because those two are poisonous. So, and once all the predators got all the fish, and I said, okay, who has the most? And whoever had the most he was like really excited. And okay, I'm like, all right, how many of you guys who has a fish with an X on the back? And like the kid who had the most had one. I'm like, okay, well, unfortunately you died because that fish was poisonous. So whoever had the most fish who doesn't have an X on it wins. And they were like, oh, they tricked us. I'm like, yeah. And that's why, you got to be careful because some of the fish are poisonous. That's, and that predators find out. So, and then they switched and they were like excited to do it again. Now that they like knew, and some of them were looking for the X the second time, but I put 2 more X's on 2 more fish. So they weren't the same fish anymore. But yeah, they really liked it. So yeah.
That's fun. So it sounds like there's a direct connection between hands-on learning, especially when it comes to STEM. Can you talk to that, especially since this is basically what you do all the time, running some of these out of school programs? Just how important is it that kids are learning all the different types of STEM subjects in a very fun, hands-on way?
Yeah, I usually try to at least give them like 45 minutes or at least a half hour to do like a hands-on project because kids are in school all day, and they have to sit and listen for a good chunk of the day. So we don't want them to have to come in and then have just sit and listen, because I've had like guest speakers come like from great organizations like Boise Watershed, Foothill Learning Center, ESU, Micron, all kinds of stuff like that. And they a lot of times they just kind of talk a lot of times, and sometimes kids get bored. They need to do something. They've been in school all day. They're antsy, and they just need something recreational to do. So that's what we try to give them. And it's also nice to give them something that they can make and take home. They don't always have something they can take home, but often they do.
Awesome. So what were some of the specific takeaways from this lesson? Like, what were some of those skills that they took away from the lessons that you incorporated with the oceanic exploration? What are some of those things that you think they're going to hold with them for the rest of their lives?
I think that because I did 2 programs and we kind of like incorporated them together, they're going to have like a different understanding about about different kinds of fish in the ocean and what their roles are as far as like the food web, and like how they can adapt and hide, and because we talked about like on the whiteboard picture I showed you, which has we talked about all those fish on there. Like there's like a lionfish, there's an octopus, there was seahorses, things like that. Like how, like we talked about like how do these animals like live? Like some of them, like they're not predators. They're like, think about like the coral reef. Like there's a lot of plants there that are living, and they are predators themselves, but they also like provide safety for a lot of these fish. So it's just something to think about. I don't know, just think differently. Like, oh, and also like the color game when they were looking for prey, I'm like, well, if you're a predator, these are things you got to keep in mind. Like, like if you're in the wild, like you a human, and like you're in in the forest and stuff, like you can't just eat like anything you want, because like berries, are they poisonous? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, I mean, just because you are the apex predator doesn't mean everything is available to you.
How would you say the curriculum helped you just get these couple of lessons up and running, ready to go? Talk about the prep time or any of the time saving mechanisms that it had.
Yeah, it had the background information, so it made me like more, because I mean I'm not a marine biologist or anything, so I don't know all these details about coral reefs and fish and predators and the food web. So it was actually really interesting for me to like read all these things and discuss them with them. So I had like some prior knowledge, like so I can put on that teacher hat and be like, so like, yeah, and repeat this information to the kids. So because if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have known some of these facts in here. Like I didn't know like anything about like some of these like these smaller fish. And I love ocean things, and it just gave me like some good knowledge to discuss with them. So like I kind of knew what I was talking about more than I probably would have without this. But also like I really like the discussion questions, like the group discussion part. So it kind of like it gets me involved with the kids, like having this conversation, like asking the right questions. So, and like, that are open-ended. So like there can be lots of answers. So, and like the kids go around and like they'll raise their hand and they'll like, they can give their best answers. But sometimes it's like one of the challenges about like teaching like a topic in STEM is like what questions to ask the kids, like what and finding out what do they know already. So it's always great to have good questions to have that discussion with them. So this was really good. I mean, and we have some younger kids that like, because this looks like it's more like designed for like probably like 4th grade and up, which is fine because like the average I kind of prepare as if it were or like 3rd grade, because our program is ages 5 to 11, so like kindergarten to 6th grade. And so I kind of just try to be in the middle there, so that way it's like, not too easy for some kids and not too hard for other kids. It's kind of like right in the middle, and like that sweet spot I think is good. So I mean, I think some of the little kids had no idea, the questions I was asking, but they were like paying attention to the kids who did know. So it was really good to hear like some of the kids' answers, even if they were not correct, and that's totally fine. We can correct them. So yeah, I think it's outlined pretty well. It's like it's pretty like clean. It's not overwhelming, which is a thing when I'm looking for a project. If it's like really overwhelming to me, I'm like, this sounds really difficult. It's going to be really difficult to teach this. I don't really want to do this. If it's going to be too stressful for me to do it, it's going to be stressful on the kids. So I want something that's like really it's simplified, and it's, that would be fun and interactive. So I feel like this was really good. I definitely going to use more of this. I actually really want to do the underwater volcanoes, which is another day. That's really it. It was really simple. Like we didn't have to purchase anything extra. So I mean, we obviously purchased the curriculum, but we didn't have to purchase like anything extra that we didn't have already, like any additional supplies. So yeah, it was just a really, really easy project to do. Yeah, the kids really seemed to enjoy it. So.
A big thanks to Jes for sharing how she used ocean science as part of her summer library programming. To listen to more stories from educators like you, visit adventures.com/spotlight. That's EDVENTURES.com/spotlight.